Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Om Shri Guru Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Om Ishvaro Guru Atmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagire Vyoma Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Shruti Smriti Puranam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Om Om Om. A very warm welcome to all my divine friends from across the globe. Today I am going to introduce you to the fundamental processes, means and methods of self-realization. We are today going to practice deep reflection and profound meditation for self-realization. But before I begin the process, it would be proper to give a brief introduction to the concept of self-realization. Why should and why would you be interested in self-realization? Is it a woolly idea, a fantasy, an imaginary concept? Absolutely not. The sages and seers and the sacred scriptures on self-realization tell us that self-realization is the greatest achievement a human being is capable of. Because by self-realization alone, you are able to fulfill all your dreams and desires all your searches and seeking for unconditional love is fulfilled only and only after self-realization. The ever-burning hunger for enjoying love and bliss in every moment of life is realized, made and experienced only and only through self-realization. To put it simply, self-realization is the art, science and philosophy of becoming almighty, realizing your omnipotent, omniscient and omnipresent nature. Because by then alone a true empowerment, the supreme empowerment of an embodied soul is achieved. There is not a single human being on the planet who is not running after some or the other thing, who is not hankering after some or the other pleasure or enjoyment. But very little we manage to get. The more we achieve in this ephemeral mortal world, the more we enjoy the sensual pleasures or the worldly glories, the more hungry we feel. So, to realize that supreme glory of your own nature as all of all and whole of whole, the science of self-realization was given by the ancient seers of the Holy Land of India. After experiencing the same intimate, direct, personal experience of that supreme glory that an ordinary human mortal in flesh and blood realizes its supreme nature, its ultimate reality as nothing but Brahman and Brahman alone, immortal, eternal reality within, infinite ocean of love and bliss is realized. There are two ways you approach each and every act, ambition, vision or goal of yours. The first and foremost is, what do you achieve or gain by a particular act? So a personal fulfillment of your personal desires. The second is, how much do you contribute to the welfare of the world by that particular act of yours? On both the parameters, welfare of yourself, that's a personal growth and welfare, and contribution to the welfare of the mankind, self-realization is the ultimate means, supreme means. Because as far as your personal accomplishments are concerned, after self-realization, you become all of all. You achieve all of all. You enjoy the whole of the whole. Nothing remains to be achieved, nothing remains to be enjoyed after you become self-realized, because you become self of all. The second motive and approach to life and its activities, maybe you want to contribute to the fellow humans, to the mankind, the society. The seers, sages and masters who have become self-realized tell you that self-realization is the greatest contribution a human being make to the world, to the mankind, to society as large. So in both ways, that is the ultimate goal. Every jiva, embodied self, is only consciously or unconsciously trying to become all and all, trying to achieve all in all. What are you doing? You are doing nothing but each and every act, intention and thought of yours is trying to achieve something, trying to gain something, trying to acquire something, trying to possess something, try to become master, owner of something, try to enjoy something that is not yet enjoyed. So ever-burning thirst and ever-expanding hunger for becoming all in all is the most basic instinct of all the jivas, not only humans. It's another matter that humans alone have those intellectual, mental faculties whereby they can achieve this in this life. So, today, let's begin by understanding a few basic concepts around the process of self-realization. In Vedanta philosophy, non-dual self-realization requires four things, or passes through four processes, technically called in Sanskrit SHRAVAN, MANAN, NIDHIDHYASANA and Nirvikalpa Samadhi. SHRAVAN is listening, MANAN is deep reflection, NIDHIDHYASANA is profound meditation, and Nirvikalpa Samadhi is complete absorption in that supreme reality, in other words, transcendental meditation also. So, as a part of SHRAVAN, to help you understand and begin your journey for self-realization, I would say some of the mantras and their meaning, profound meaning about ourselves. That would be part of SHRAVAN. I would take just one verse, that would be good enough. One mantra is good enough. If you think and think deeply, and it takes years and years for many of the seekers. So the mantra or the verse which explains about our true nature, there is nothing in self-realization other than to know about our true nature, first from the Guru, the Master, then reflect upon this idea. Sorry, the network was disrupted. So, we begin with hearing what is our true nature. Then we reflect upon that idea, that teaching of the Guru. That's MANAN, reflection, deep reflection. The third stage is NIDHIDHYASANA, profound meditation. Think deeply within ourselves that we are that and that alone. And by repeated practice of that for a longer period of time with intensity, we realize that infinite nature of ours, immortal form of ours, blissful reality of ours, that's nirvikalpa samadhi, complete absorption, right in this body of flesh and blood. So the mantra I am going to take today for SHRAVAN, MANAN, NIDHIDHYASANA, only to this extent we can explore through this distance and life medium, not nirvikalpa samadhi. So these three also take years and years and years of teaching and practice. But from the day one, don't remain under the illusion that benefits of this process will be tangible and visible only after nirvikalpa samadhi or you realize the self ultimately. No, from the day one, if you have an intense yearning for self-realization, this alone is the condition to fulfill the rest of expectations of this process. That you must have some basic understanding and faith in the process, but it's not blind faith. Vedanta is a rational and scientific philosophy. It doesn't believe or go after anything blindly. It's a rational philosophy, completely rational philosophy. Unless and until you experience it yourself, don't believe in that. So today's verse and the idea we are going to understand, then reflect and meditate in a profound manner is from one of the greatest treatises of non-duality, that is Advaita Vedanta, called Ashtavakra Sanghita or Ashtavakra Gita. So it would suffice to take just one verse, and that's unbelievable verse. Even in the literature across the history of mankind, it would be difficult to find a parallel declaration by a human being. As many of you might have heard, Ashtavakra, the great sage, self-realized master, is instructing the great emperor Janaka about the nature of self, about the nature of supreme reality. And at the beginning, just after a few minutes of instruction by sage Ashtavakra, Emperor Janaka gets enlightenment, becomes self-realized. He begins to experience the immensity, immeasurability of his own entity and existence. And in the very second chapter, he utters. In the first chapter, Ashtavakra gives the fundamentals, the basic teachings as to what is the problem with the embodied self and how to get over it. Just by instruction, deep, profound instruction and deep and profound listening. And Janaka was a great emperor. So he becomes suddenly, all of a sudden, he becomes self-realized. He gets established in the self and he utters an unbelievable verse. He utters similar 4 verses, but today many of you might not be aware about the fundamentals of Vedanta philosophy, so it wouldn't be proper for me to just keep rushing so fast. One verse would be good enough for today. And that verse in Sanskrit is like this. Once he becomes self-realization and he realizes the glory, he sings like this. Aho aham namo mahiyam yasya me nasti kinchana athava yasya me sarvam yadvak manasagocharam yadvak manasagocharam. It's unbelievable in the history of mankind that a human being, a mortal being, embodied being of flesh and blood, he declares all of a sudden, oh, what a wonder, what a wonder, what a wonder. I am wonderful. I am that supreme reality. I have realized that supreme reality. I have realized my immensity of my nature. I have realized, I see, I experience most intensely that I am that supreme reality. It's wonder of the wonder, unbelievable, unbelievable to me, not to anybody else. I alone am that supreme reality, that supreme truth I was running after for millions and millions of years. Now I see that I alone exist, none other than me, no one else other than me exists. In 2 senses, he says. In secondary sense, about this visible world of phenomenal duality that we perceive, we see, we understand, we relate to through our senses, through sensory perception, the world around us that is perceived, that objects around us. Janaka said, the self-realized soul says, I am none of these. I am none of these. The entire visible world that is understood, perceived by the senses of perception, I am none of that. He completely detaches, dissociates, and disidentifies with all the gross visible world. And he declares, I am none of that, including this body of myself. Anything that is visible, that's a gross, that is amenable and accessible to senses of perception, I am none of this. It was my illusion, ignorance, that I identified with this visible world. So I am none whatsoever, whosoever, I am none of these. So what I am? Athva yasya me sarvam yadvak manasa gocharam. Now this is the primary sense and primary meaning. I am, or he first says, I am none of these. That is also true. And he said, or, and that is the primary, in the primary form, the self, he explains, or I am all of all. I alone am present and pervade this entire visible universe too. There is none other than me even in this ephemeral, phenomenal, visible world. And I am one indivisible, non-dual reality of the nature of eternal existence, pure consciousness, everlasting bliss, unconditional love. I am. That I am. So there is no one who is superior to me. There is none who is higher than me. I alone am that supreme reality. And he worships, he adores, he says, Aho aham namo mahyam. I salute myself alone. I, with my folded hands, salute none else but myself. Now I realize the grandeur and glory of my true nature. I alone am that self. I alone am the Atman. I alone am Paramatman. I alone am Brahman. I alone am that God that I have been running after. There is no superior, higher, or different reality other than me. Other than me. My salutations to myself. My salutations to myself. Now I worship none. I adore none. I respect or revere none. Because I and I alone in the form of Sacchidananda, the truth, bliss and consciousness in that supreme reality. I am established firmly in that reality through the grace of the great Guru. And right now, I am established in the wonder of the wonders, the miracle of the miracles. That is the nature of myself. How foolish I was. I was seeking that supreme reality, the Brahman, in external world, and I was thinking myself as this perishable body, mind, intellect and senses. So, two things have happened. The most fundamental principle of Vedanta, in simply put, we have a misunderstanding about ourselves. So that has to be removed. That misunderstanding in technical language of Advaita Vedanta is called illusion, illusory power of the Lord, that Maya. the illusory power of Maya covers our reality as the Supreme we are, the Atman and Paramatman we are. So it covers us from that nature of ourselves. That is called the veiling power of Maya. The second function of Maya is projecting power. First it veils our true nature, then it projects us as something else. Something else is that unreal entity called body, mind, intellect. This alone is the problem in entire Vedanta philosophy. First, we have identified ourselves with something we are not. We have identified for millions and millions of incarnations with what we are not. And to break free from that, first you will have to disidentify yourself with that entity and then identify with what we are, the Supreme Reality. So, this identification with the wrong perception, wrong belief, and identification with the supreme nature of ours, these are the two processes in entire process of self-realization, the great self-realization. Fundamentally, these two things have to be done. In many seekers' life, it could be attained in very short period of time. For many others, it would take some more time. So, as a means to disidentification with the wrong entity called this body-mind we have, and the second process of identifying with the supreme reality, the supreme nature of ours, we are going to begin the process of deep reflection and profound meditation. I would begin to go. Network is creating a bit of problem, but let's now go to the process of deep reflection and then followed by profound meditation. Since you also have to be, I want you to be part of that process. If I have to do that, I will do it silently. I'm not supposed to speak. Any seeker is not supposed to speak. It's an internal journey, deep reflection, profound meditation. But I want the entire humanity on the planet to enjoy the nectar of self-realization, because I alone have manifested in all the human beings. So my beloved selves, please come and join to explore our wonderful, immeasurable, immortal reality within. So first, we will disidentify with the wrong notion of ours, wrong entity that we have thought ourselves to be. In between, I would keep speaking, but that would be intended not as a speech. Deep, slow introspection within. It must sink deep within in every single cell of our body and mind. That intention, let's begin the journey of that infinite nature of ourselves. To begin with that process, I would, for a few, 4-5 times, do what is called loud recitation of the primordial sound, that Onkar, Om. Om, the meaning of Om is in Vedic philosophy, Om is the name of that formless, nameless, attributeless Brahman, the supreme reality that all of us are. So let's identify ourselves through direct process of feeling. I would do that sound 5 times and we will deeply realize the meaning of Om is Soham. The Sa is silent. The meaning, literal meaning of Om is identification with that supreme Atman, Paramatman. So Sa is, the prefix Sa is silent, but the meaning is like Soham. I am that. I am that. That is supreme reality. So when we do the sound, there will be tremendous energy produced within the body and mind. And let's experience that first, then I'll come to the next process. And it will be a slow process. The effort would be to realize and go within. Just keep your eyes closed for a few minutes. Go deep within. Feel the impact of the divine vibrations of Om. You will feel a sense of deep peace, loving peace dawning within. Let's be silent for a few minutes and experience that the inner formless nature of ours. Don't think about anything, just see the seer. See the seer, perceive the perceiver, the formless. Try to be free from all the thoughts, the notions, ideas. But don't worry if the thoughts come, because you are a beginner. It takes time to become free of thoughts. I can go instantly, but it will take for years, a lot of time. I have been practicing it for almost 3 decades. It doesn't mean that you also would have to wait for 30 years. It can happen in a few days, a few weeks, a few months. So just go deep within, and realize that you are nothing but Soham, silent Soham. I am that. I am that. I am that. Silently feel that I am that. Soham. The mantra is Soham, Soham, Soham. Let's do it for 2 minutes, silently. So far, whatever I said was part of SHRAVAN, hearing. Now let's begin the second process. I have just briefly introduced you to this process. But second stage, that is MANAN, deep reflection. On the Supreme Truth, I will go in deep reflection, and whatever I feel, I will go in deep silence for just 1 minute, and automatically I will begin to realize, to feel, and though it is supposed to be silent, but it could be spoken also. If the master, the teacher has to teach the student or anybody, the seeker, he will have to speak. So the next process would be deep reflection, and then that would be followed by NIDHIDHYASANA, the profound meditation upon that idea. That would be silent. So for 5 to 10 minutes I will, and we will do MANAN. You just listen to my words and then reflect yourself, feel the meaning, the depth of those words. That is, identify yourself with the reality. In order to disidentify with the false identity and identify, re-identify with the ultimate truth, that is the purpose of that deep reflection. Now I realize my stupidity, my foolishness, my ignorance, that I was under belief, I was under illusion that I am body. Wow! Wow! What a great foolish belief. I was thinking for millions and millions of incarnations and ages that this body is my ultimate reality. This body, senses, mind and intellect are me. What a great stupidity. This body is a false appearance. Now I realize, now I can perceive directly that the body and all the physical world is nothing but the objects as appeared in the case of a dream. During the dream sleep, whatever objects, good, bad, ugly, you see, do they exist anywhere? No. You are a finite human being sleeping on the bed in a small room, and during the dream you see that you are swimming in the vast ocean. You are watching the mighty mountains, Himalayas, in your dreams. You are seeing in the dream, oh, the biggest metro towns in the world, oh, New Delhi, oh, it is, I'm New York, Washington, Tokyo. How does it become possible that Tokyo, Moscow, New York, Washington, London, New Delhi, Mumbai, entire city becomes visible within this finite body mind during the dream? And do you realize during the dream that I am somewhere in the big town, I'm watching the town, and it's a false dream? You never realize that. During the dream, you never realize that you are dreaming or this is false. You think it's 100%, 10% true. You realize the illusory nature, the falsity of that dream experience only and only when you get up, only and only when woken up. Similarly, in this life, in human life, whatever we perceive, experience, enjoy, these are all illusory experiences, false experiences. All the network of relationships, all our friends, foes, family, they are all appearances. Just like in a mirror, if you stand before a mirror, you see your entire body, your entire face, and it looks as if there is something exactly like you in the mirror. But does something other than the mirror, the glass, is anything else at that point of time existing within that mirror? Think it. That's why it's a rational philosophy, Vedanta. It doesn't believe in anything that couldn't be understood. In the mirror, you see an appearance of yours which looks exactly like living, real. Yet it's 100% false. It's an appearance. During the appearance of your image in the mirror, what exists in the place of that appearance is nothing other than the mirror. Mirror alone is the reality. Similarly, we perceive this world, phenomenal world, this body of mind, the bodily entity of others, the humans, the animal kingdom, the plant life, the mountains, the rivers, the oceans, the sun, the moon, the galaxies and the stars and the sky, these are all false projection of myself. I, the self alone am present. I, the one, indivisible, partless, non-dual supreme reality, the Atman, the Paramatman, the Brahman, alone has appeared at these millions and billions of trillions of external objects. As in the case of a dream, only mind and mind alone projects this vast scenes before us during the dream. So this human life, ordinary mental and intellectual understanding of this life is just like a dream life. The self-realization is nothing but to break free from that sleeping dream life. The false identification we have done that we are perishable body, we are miserable body, we are always suffering from ailments, some are the other problems, and we therefore are always miserable, anxious, depressed, because eternal existence, immortality is our intrinsic desire. Have you ever seen any entity, forget about humans you can understand, but I am talking about the entire living universe. Does anyone ever wish to die? It happens in exceptional situations which compels people to commit suicide because of the fact that the life becomes unbearable. The existence immortal is by nature blissful, loving, and once you are devoid of that love, satisfaction, joy and bliss, you start thinking of committing suicide. But this suicide is limited to only humans. The other, whether insects, animals, each one of them has desire to exist, desire to live for eternity, immortality. Do you see when a mosquito sits on your body and you try to hit it, it just flies away, runs away? A dog or a cat or a cow or a buffalo or a jackal or a mouse or a squirrel, the moment you run after them, they just run away because they are afraid of their existence. So intrinsically, even the flies and mosquitoes and all the plant animal kingdom have the intrinsic desire to live because they are nothing but manifestation of that supreme reality, the self, the Atman, the Paramatman, which is eternal. It never dies, it was never born. So you are essentially immortal, eternal as self. You were never born. That's why you never want to die. Nobody wants to die. You want to become immortal. So that is the first nature of yours. Eternal existence is your first attribute of that Sat Chit Ananda. The second is in your nature. You are not a gross reality, a physical object. You, in your true nature, are of pure intelligence, pure consciousness, pure awareness. These are the words I am using so that you can understand it, the same meaning. In Vedanta philosophy, there are 4 Mahavakyas, the great statements around which the entire process of self-realization or Vedantic philosophy moves around. One of them is Prajnanam Brahma. Consciousness alone is Brahman. Awareness alone is that supreme reality. And all of us are none other than that prajna, that pure consciousness. So we are not of the nature of inert, insentient, objective world. This entire objective world is inert, insentient. It has no living or perceiving capacity. It has zero intelligence. This entire visible world as well as our life and body is illumined, pervaded and revealed by none other than pure awareness, pure intelligence. And that is only one. Prajna. In our true nature, we are that supreme reality of the nature of pure intelligence. And that pure intelligence can't be understood in the way we understand intellect or mind. It's beyond mind. The infinite energy field of consciousness, intelligence and pure awareness begins where the realm of mind and intellect ends. The mind and intellect by their nature are not conscious entity. They are illumined, they are revealed by that pure consciousness. That's called Atman, Paramatman, Brahman, the self, the supreme reality. That supreme reality is the source, substratum and substance of the entire physical universe. As in the case of your dream sleep, the mind alone projects huge ocean, any number of planes flying you see in the dream, huge metro towns you perceive. What are those? Do they exist? These are mental projections. Similarly, the entire universe is a projection, a manifestation in the secondary sense. In primary sense, the self, the pure consciousness, pure awareness is formless, non-dual, indivisible. But that one indivisible reality and source becomes divisible. It appears divisible because it's a reflection alone. You are one, but your reflections in the mirror could be many, 1,000, 1 million, billion, trillion. The number of mirrors you have before you, you will appear in all. Similarly, in the equipment of intellect, that's the mirror of intellect and mind, through illusion, this entire world of diversity appears as different, diverse. Once this ignorance dissolves, and that dissolves finally through nirvikalpa samadhi, complete absorption. Then you realize that none exists. These are all illusory appearances. I, of the nature of Supreme Self, alone has manifested, appeared as moon. I alone has appeared as moon. I, the Supreme Self, alone has appeared as sun. I alone has manifested as stars and galaxies. I, the Self, of the nature of Sacchidananda, of the nature of pure awareness, alone has manifested in the beauty of the flowers, in the greenery of the leaves of the problem. Let's resume. So, the first deep reflection is about de-identifying ourselves as this finite body, miserable body. Briefly, I will touch upon the third attribute and dimension of that supreme reality, that's of the nature of bliss, Sat Chitananda. I have explained the existence part briefly. I have explained the consciousness part. Now, the Ananda, the bliss, the love. The technical term in Vedanta, Ananda, is not an ordinary happiness or joy. It's love plus bliss of infinite and immortal and unconditional nature that Ananda stands for. You intrinsically, by your nature, are unconditional love. Infinite joy and bliss is your own nature. You are supremely beautiful as self, the Atman, the Paramatman. That's why, since by nature you are supremely beautiful, an infinite ocean of bliss, and eternal. Sorry again for network problem. Since network is creating problems, so in another 10 to 15 minutes, we will complete today's process. So second stage, that is manana, deep reflection on these ideas that I am Satya. Satya is a technically defined word in Vedanta philosophy. As Satya, the eternal truth, I am eternal, immutable, beyond all change and decay. I am that as a self. My nature is of the pure awareness, pure consciousness. And thirdly, that as consciousness, pure awareness, I am blissful, supremely blissful. I am supremely beautiful. As consciousness by nature intrinsically is blissful. Love eternal is my nature. Beauty unimaginable is within myself. And as ordinary human beings, whenever we have... Sorry, this network is very bad here. So simply our all fundamental desires and basic instincts to live for eternity, to be almighty, all-powerful, and to enjoy love, bliss and beauty is the most powerful indicator of us being the Brahman, the Atman, the Paramatman. Since one of the name of Paramatman, the Brahman, is Anandamaya, we are by nature that supreme reality. Take for an example, a very brief example. Once you are a ruler, once you are a king or an emperor, if you lose that state, you are restless. An emperor who has been dethroned from his kingdom, an empire, will never be at peace. Similarly, we are ultimately emperor of all emperors. The self, we have lost our empire due to ignorance. And that infinite empire of self, Swarajya Samraj, what in Sanskrit called Swaraj Samraj. That infinite empire of self is within us. We have lost that empire in the sense it is never actually lost. It can never be lost. But we have lost sight of that infinite kingdom of ourselves. It's just like in the case of an emperor of emperor, a big king, a great prince who has been told by somebody that, no, you are a beggar, you are a son or a daughter of a beggar, you are impoverished, you are miserable. That is what has happened with us. So that situation of that emperor or king or prince makes him miserable, finite, think that, oh, I am miserable, I am dependent on somebody. That is what has happened to us through ignorance, ajnana. We have identified ourselves with the body, mind, and body is a born reality, so it is bound to die. Anything and everyone who is born is bound to die, so we think ourselves as ephemeral, mortal, perishable. But this body alone is perishable. This body, mind, intellect, senses alone are subject to decay and death. The self within, the illuminator, the revealer, the source substance of my body, mind, intellect, the witnessing consciousness, Sakshi Chaitanya, Pratyagatman, that is my reality. It was never born, it will never die. And by nature, it's blissful, it's embodiment of infinite love. So, we have been begging for love, we have been begging for few drops of joy and happiness in external objects is such a great tragedy, stupidity of ours. We are eternal emperors of that empire of love, bliss and beauty. That is the ultimate objective of self-realization. So is it limited to just words, sentences, verbal communication? No, it's eternal reality. That's the fundamental reality of the existence. You have to experience that. So, before we conclude, for 5 to 10 minutes, silently, we will close our eyes and go deep within to experience. Since you are a beginner, it won't happen suddenly, but the process will begin invisibly, unconsciously. Once we go deep within, slowly and slowly, we begin to lose sense of sight of cognition of the external, ephemeral world and its identity we have identified with. So, before we conclude, let's go for 10 minutes in deep meditation, profound meditation. Since you are a new one, so you will go in the meditation, I will also go, but in between, I'll keep saying something. You have to meditate on that truth of your own nature. It will be about yourself. I am not different from you. You are not different from me. I am within you. You are within me. As pure consciousness, we are one non-dual reality. So I am addressing to none, but I am addressing to myself. I alone manifest as the entire infinite world of duality. So I will help you. You may close your eyes and deeply try to go and silence yourself through words. In between the words and sentences, I will also try to be silent. I'm supposed to be, that meditation is supposed to be silent, but my purpose right now is to help you begin that journey of the infinite. So let's begin that NIDHIDHYASANA, profound meditation about the supreme reality. You could keep in mind just fundamental mantra, Soham, I am that. Your entire focus would be mentally, silently, in the beginning when you can recite, but after a few minutes, just mentally think of that mantra, I am that. Repeat that, I am that, I am that. Main wahi hu, main wahi hu, main wahi hu. I am that, I am that. Soham, Soham, Soham. And around that I'll help you go deeper inside. Oh, I alone am that. I alone am that. Soham, 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 Soham. I am that supreme reality. I am existence immortal, life eternal. Soham, 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 I am that. I am that. I am of the nature of pure awareness. Infinite energy filled of pure awareness is my true nature. I am infinite energy filled of pure awareness. Pragyanam Brahma. Soham. 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 I am that. I am that. I am of the nature of pure intelligence. All creativity, all invention, all innovation is my nature, my property as pure intelligence. I alone has written all the scriptures, all the knowledge that has been given to the mankind or to whosoever. All the scientific inventions made so far in human history were none and none and none by none. It was me of the nature of pure consciousness, pure awareness, who revealed those great mysteries of nature as scientific inventions, technological innovations. I, of the nature of pure consciousness, has alone all creativity, all scientific temper of discovery and unveiling and revealing the mystery of nature. I am that. Soham, Soham, Soham. My third attribute, fundamental attribute, though I am attributeless, of Ananda, I by my nature is love and bliss and beauty. I don't have to run after any object or any person for love, bliss and beauty. None whatsoever. no love, no bliss and beauty exist beyond me the self, witnessing consciousness of the nature of pure awareness alone is the sole master, sole owner, and sole proprietor of all the love and bliss and beauty that is enjoyed and experienced by ordinary mortals in ephemeral world, in the objects, in the lovers and beloveds, in the husband and wife, in the friends and foes and the world. They are just particle of my nature, just a small ray of my self-effulgent nature. I am of the nature of that love I have been running after through millions and millions of ages and incarnations. I am that embodiment of love. I am that infinite mass of bliss, joy, and happiness that I was running after due to my ignorance in the external world. The entire beauty and beautiful objects and persons I was running after, begging before, was none other than me. I am the supreme beauty. I alone has manifested in beautiful girls and handsome boys, beautiful men and handsome men. The beauty of the flower, the enchanting fragrance of the flower and plant kingdom, the enchanting charm of the animal kingdom, the beauty of the flowing river, the beauty of the infinite ocean, the shine and light in the sun, the shine in the moon, the glitter in the sky, and the glitter of the stars. All the beauty is my manifestation, my appearance. No beauty exists other than mine, that of Sacchidananda, truth, absolute, awareness, pure, and bliss eternal, Anandamaya. I am Anandamaya. I am bliss consciousness. I am bliss consciousness. No bliss and love and beauty exist beyond me, as I am present in all the embodied selves as indwelling self, Pratyagatman. I alone reveal all the joys and sorrows and sufferings and ecstasy and bliss that all the jivas experience is through me and me alone. I alone am present as Sakshi Chaitanya, witnessing consciousness in all the living beings. I alone, the one indivisible non-dual reality, has manifested as world of dual infinite diversity. I am such an immeasurable, unthinkable, glorious existence. It's very difficult to imagine for an ordinary human who has been living under ignorance that I am always poor, deprived, miserable. I have to depend on somebody. Even the worldly kings and emperors are miserable. They want to live. The body has to disappear. No king, the worldly king or emperor, has lived forever. So in that sense, that is what the self-realization, and in self-realization you realize that you are emperor of emperors. This emperor of emperors is never going to die or disappear, because it was never born. That emperor of emperors, of the nature of pure consciousness and eternal existence and blissful by nature, that emperor of emperor I am. Soham, that I am. Silently Just go deep and enjoy that blissful nature of yours. For 2 minutes, complete silence and feel that infinity within, and then we'll conclude the session. Oh, 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 Soham, Soham, Soham. Sarvabhutantarasthaya Nityamukta Chidatmane Pratyak Chaitanya Rupaya Mahyameva Namo Namaha Mahyameva Namo Namaha Mahyameva Namo Namaha Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May Lord bless you all, and I wish and pray that you realize in this lifetime your ultimate glory through self-realization. You realize and discover the emperor of emperor that you are. That is the ultimate objective of this life. So may this wish of yours, that is the supreme wish, be fulfilled. That's my wish, that's my prayer. We will continue on other days also. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining here in this NIDHIDHYASANA session from Haridwar. Om Hari Om.